Welcome to Danu on Fire right here on hi.lk, your luxury channel. Thank you for tuning in. Today we are speaking to someone who loves Sri Lanka, but he is not from Sri Lanka. He is from India, he lives in London, and he runs a restaurant that is Sri Lankan food, and it's called Hoppers London. I'm so happy to have Karan for the second time on Danu on Fire.
Great to be back.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Last time I actually jumped into the kitchen and we cooked with him. We had like the murunga, crab curry and the whole works. Charit, I think you should put some shots because I was a bit thinner then. Yeah. That's the only difference, and he had more hair. His hairline is gone. Those are the two things that we are noticeable changes.
Yeah, both very sad changes. At least sad for me, I don't know, but you're looking great.
This is what we're going to talk about. The Hoppers book. This cookbook is actually it has a lot of favorite people of mine Aussie in it. Big shout out to Ryan, who was the official photographer from You My Favorite for this. So let's speak a little bit about Hoppers London. How is it going?
It's been a hard year. COVID was hard. Obviously, had to rethink things since we last spoke. But that also brought out amazing stuff like this.
Yeah.
We had on the back of that, we created a new brand called Cash and Curry.
Right.
So like Cash and Carry, you have the Cash and Carry shop. So we did
Cash and Carry.
Yeah. So those are the typical shops.
Right.
They're these big, large wholesale shops, very well known. They have it's a term basically, like a supermarket. So we took that, we played with it, and we called it Cash and Curry. So we used to send kothu rotis chilled to people's home.
Right.
So the elements and people who cooked them themselves.
Right.
They loved it. They loved cooking in lockdown. It made Sri Lankan food popular in corners of the country we could never reach to. And then those guys came back to the restaurant. Yeah. And then another sort of fallout of lockdown was me sort of really thinking about the journey, thinking about what we've done, and then saying, look, I think it's time to write a book. And then the best part of 2 years writing this.
Yeah. Well, there have been so many cookbooks from Sri Lanka about how to make a appa, how to make a dosa and things like that. We have gone through this. Why would you say, from a business point of view, why would you say this is the book that you should follow to make the right hopper?
I think it's, this is actually a question I thought about a lot.
Thanks.
Yes, we did the restaurant, and the restaurant was popular. We did the second and the third, so we've got 3 hoppers now in London, and they've all been, by the grace of God, very popular. But every time I came here and people sort of said, oh wow, you've done something great and you've done something with our restaurants, I still kind of in my head, I said, okay, maybe it's just contextual. Maybe it was still, because we are in London so far away that people get excited. When it came to writing a book, I knew that one day that book would be in Sri Lanka, and I've tried really hard to get it here now. But for me, it was a very challenging thought process. It was like, why exactly the same thing? Why wouldn't someone buy a book on Sri Lankan food written by an Indian? And it really got me thinking, and I said, okay, if I do it, it should almost sort of be sharing my story, my journey, Sri Lanka through mine and the Hoppers lens now, because Hoppers is a bigger brand than me, but I still believe I live the brand and the brand lives me. And for me, that was very important. So this book was not about trying to be the tome on Sri Lankan cookery or this is your definitive guide, but just the way Hoppers has come to be known for Sri Lankan food, and we've seen to make it fun and exciting. It's almost the same spin. So it's treated like a scrapbook of a child who's been going back to the same place as a holiday destination for years, and every time gets something back. So that's why, I've got a lot of little excerpts and stories about my friends. I've got recipes in there, like Regina's recipe. We went to Lina's house last time. Regina's such an amazing cook. She did a cucumber curry, a pineapple curry for me once, and those were not dishes that would necessarily work in the restaurant, but I've got them in here. So suddenly the book opened these opportunities to do dishes,
all these fond memories,
to tell stories, and these are things that shaped us. They might not have directly come on our menu, but they've impacted our thinking about food, our thinking about Sri Lanka. I've got QR codes of videos in there. Ryan, who's like a younger brother, lived with me when he was shooting these pictures, and I've spent more time with him in a car traveling this country than with anyone else. So it's really exciting to be able to share that. Then there are the recipes that, for instance, I cooked a whole goat and I did it Jaffna style. Talking to the right person, I did it Jaffna style. So it was inspired by some dishes that we ate when we went to Jaffna. So I used a Jaffna rub and a curry powder, which we developed using American barbecue techniques in the middle of Regent's Park on live fire for an entire day. There's a picture in there also of us just treating this goat, gently cooking it. We caught all the drippings and we made a curry sauce. And in the end, we shaved it and served it with the curry sauce. So that's not a traditional dish.
But it's just
But it's
using where you were inspired to create something that what the palates want today. All right, we're going to get into a break. We'll see you on the other side. But big thank you to our friends here at Check-in Columbus 7 for hosting us. We'll see you after. Welcome back to the show. We're at Check-in Columbus 7. We're speaking to the man who has made hoppers sexy. We're talking about Karan. Every time I said I'm doing an interview with Karan, then I jur. I'm like, no. This is a Karan that I might actually like. Sorry. Anyway, it's not that he watches my show. I just wanted to say it in case Karan watches it. All right. So now I wanted to ask you, your life is quite productive when you come here. You tend to do a lot of things. What are the other things you're doing apart from launching hoppers?
So, apart from the cookbook, which for me is like obviously a huge momentous occasion. So we're actually having a launch here this evening at Jet Wing, which has a very close place in my heart because I've worked with the family a lot over the years. They've hosted us. We have, they do so much for the country and I admire that so greatly. But, so there's the first stop. I've also brought my bar team along who'll be making some drinks here.
Wow.
But the main reason, they thought they're coming on holiday. The main reason is taking them down to Hiriket here to a bar called Smoke and Bitters to do even more work. Okay. And that's the real work.
Yeah, and that particular bar is in the top 50 the world.
Of the Asia's 50 best.
The Asia's.
But they're phenomenal bar.
And also the fact that, Hiriket has become the place. Like a few years ago, they were like, Hiri, where?
No, but these guys have had a big role to play in that. So Smoke and Bitters, great brand. I'm so excited to be having this little collaboration with them. And then the bigger sort of wrapper on that is Rockland. So Rockland and Amal specifically, the sort of chairman and co-founder of Rockland, he is like a brother to me. He was the first guy who gave me a little bit of time when I came here with no restaurant. Everyone was like, 40-seat restaurant in Soho, what are you going to do? And we said, well, we want to do Sri Lankan food. He's like, fine, go do it. Why should we be part of it? Or go and source our products from wherever.
Have you got any negative slack for being an Indian doing Sri Lanka?
I was about to say, nothing.
Oh, really? Wow.
And this for me is, I'm so grateful for it. I mean, I almost expected it. Even with the book, when I brought it here, I almost expected. Now we've sold about 60, 70, 80 copies in
like
Colombo.
2 days.
In a week maybe, for the early.
Just exaggerate for TV, man. It's all
in one day, we started this morning.
Yeah.
So those 80 copies, luckily I've heard nothing but positive feedback back.
Amazing.
And there are a lot of Sri Lankans who bought it both in London, sent it to their families abroad all over the world.
And it's an ideal gift. Like
I hope
it's
so.
a good gift
I
to
hope
give.
so.
Yeah.
So, we've not had slack. So Smoke and Bitters is great, but the biggest thing I'm most excited about is last year.
Show.
That, of course. But last year we started this charity with Hema's Outreach Foundation. They already have a charity called Piyavara, and we plugged into that with a project called Feeding the Future. And we've raised about £100,000 last year.
That's amazing.
Between June and the end of the year. And we fed about 370 odd families, so children and their families, at 15 schools. These are preschool children. We've given them large bags of ration, which are nutritionally balanced.
And especially now, I think they need it more because there's a huge financial barrier in achieving simple things in life.
But this is
and
exactly.
food should not be the one that they are cutting short on.
And Danu, I've got a 4-year-old at home. I feed him breakfast every morning before he goes to school, and I know what a wreck he is before he's eaten. And that got me thinking last year. It's like, these children, how can they concentrate in school without actually eating? We launched this charity in June. I haven't had a chance to come since. And this is the first time we'll be visiting the schools, so I'm really excited to go and see them and see some of the work we're doing on the ground.
That's brilliant. It's really good that I think especially the Sri Lankans who live in London, I think this is a way for them to keep a connection with Sri Lanka. And can people who come and dine at your restaurant contribute?
Exactly. So one of the ways we contribute is there's a discretionary £1 added to every bill.
Right.
But the point of that is, yes, it's £1 and it's almost a rounding up figure.
Yeah.
But we also give you a little card and we tell you about it when the bill goes down. So that gets people to read and hopefully donate some more.
Yeah.
And then we've got our own dishes where every single thing goes there. I did a burger with Shake Shack in New York, which was a huge success, and everything I made on that went towards this. So there are various initiatives we do. We want to contribute out of our pockets, but we're also encouraging others to contribute. We've had very generous anonymous donations coming through a link online. I would love this to grow twice, and that's my aim this year, with a view to grow twice as much and impact as many of their network of schools. They do such an amazing job, Himas. And I want to try and plug into a lot more of what they do.
Amazing. So, that's really good. So in terms of this book, you have featured so many people who you have met on the way, who has inspired you. Tell me about a recipe that you never changed, that you saw or you tasted and you're like, oh my God, this has to go as it is into my restaurant, on my menu, into the book.
I wish it was that easy. I wish it was that easy, because most of the time, the recipes either, you're chucking a little bit of, especially with our food, oh, I'm just going to put a little pinch of this, a pinch of that, or someone will hold back on a certain ingredient. You go to a restaurant and they will never tell you how they made something. They won't even let you close the kitchen. So I wish it was that easy. I think the majority of the recipes had to be we had to research, re-engineer, deconstruct, reverse engineer, all kinds of processes to get to where we have. Yeah. But hopefully there are some in here that people could use as is in their kitchens, wherever those
So nobody was good enough to get onto the book as it was?
No, there was so much inspiration. There was so much, but doing it commercially is also very different when you do it on scale.
Amazing. All right, so now that the benefit is I get my own book signed by the author. So I'm sad that my picture is not on it. Next book, okay?
Third show. I'll write another book for you.
Everyone just says that tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes in my life. Please write the nicest message about me.
Of course.
One day when you're dead, I'll sell it. That's how books become very special. You know that, right?
So you're waiting for me to die, basically.
Not that I'm waiting, but when?
You don't believe I'll become that famous in my lifetime. You think it'll only happen after my death. Thank you, Danu.
No, you will be famous, and just imagine your value going up when you're dead.
And look, I've spelled your name right as well.
I know. For that
I was about to spell it wrong just because of you killing me. Paul.
All right, we're going to get into a break. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the show. It's Danu on Fire, my final segment with Karan. Well, if it's not for the book, you can buy it for the looks.
Danu, you told me you're going to the loo and coming back.
I gave you such a good introduction there.
Okay, thank you.
If it was not for the book, you can buy it for the looks.
Oh, I didn't. I missed that.
Oh God!
Because I was waiting to get my line in.
This is what happens. All my compliments I give people, it just flies into thin air, and obviously I'm just dry here.
I was saying you told me you're going to the loo and you come back with a full costume change.
A magical change is what happens to me.
I should come for coffees and lunches with a whole wardrobe of.
Yeah, you know why? This is the true story. I am vain. This job helps me be that.
But this shirt is great. And this is LICC.
Wait, are you trying to say the earlier one was ugly?
No, that was great as well.
Oh, good.
And two great shirts by LICC. I get all my clothes made.
There you go. LICC, they are the ones who make all their aprons.
Yeah, we've been doing aprons.
Yeah, and it's cool. They have
uniforms.
Leather straps and sexy aprons.
And they're great people behind them.
Oh yeah.
Vinod, the Hydramani family, also very good friends. They're in the book.
Yeah, so, and the best part is they actually sponsor this show. They have good taste.
Yeah.
Plug. Yeah. Many plugs.
But only good people.
Yeah, definitely.
Only genuine people.
Definitely. I wanted to ask you, what's next for Karan?
I don't know. I mean, last year was such a busy year with
Would you
doing
call
the
yourself
book.
a chef?
No, I just go by creative. Creative director, co-founder, that's the title I've sort of come up with.
Because
you end up doing everything.
Yeah, you cook from the heart. You are not
No, I get involved in every aspect. And I think a restaurant is far more than just the food. Right? We've got great professionals who do the food. it's a bit like a film. You have a director, sometimes you ask, you don't even see this person,
Yeah.
but he gets the best talent, then he extracts the best out of them. So our chefs are people we've handpicked who have, the skill within them. They have great experiences over the years.
Yeah.
Now we try to get the right things in terms of the concept. So I have a vision, and luckily I've got the right people
Are
who
you a
make
tough
that vision
boss?
happen. I think I am, but
Yeah,
I also
you're
think
a
I'm quite
demanding
fair.
boss.
I'm demanding but I also do the same thing. I think I never switch off. So the people who've sort of stuck around me are people who are willing to give it the same, who take the same ownership and the same love for the brand. And sometimes those people, sometimes you get the wrong people and they fall by the wayside. But as you do this more and more, you start knowing who's right and wrong as soon as you walk into a room.
How come you don't have a British accent?
I don't, because I don't know. I grew up in India. I stuck with the accent. I guess there's twangs of it. My wife always says when you talk to people in England, it's different when you talk to people back home. So I think you remind me of my friends back home.
Yeah, like, oh, thanks. Now, I wanted to ask you, you have been around India eating food. Anything from India, the food that resembles Sri Lankan food?
Lots. So
What part of India resembles Sri Lankan food?
So I think Kerala, Tamil Nadu.
To Jaffna, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the southern food, the northern food.
What do you mean?
The northern food of Sri Lanka is very much like
Yes,
Kerala food.
exactly.
Because a lot of
So-
people came from Kerala, like
Exactly. I
300
find
years ago.
when you come down the south, there's a lot more influence. So it's similar, but there's a lot of influence on the east, from
Yeah.
East Asia. So like Malaysian food, Indonesian food, there's lemongrass, pandan leaf. I don't see that in Kerala.
Yeah.
I find in Kerala it's less use of spice. So I think it's more the Tamil influences in Jaffna,
Yes.
where you got the really hot spices.
Yeah, true. And also, they make their food very dry. Nothing is like very gravy oriented.
Yes, I
Gravy
mean
is
except for the
added.
curries.
Yeah,
The
it's
actual
added.
word curry comes
Yeah.
from a gravy,
Correct.
but a thick gravy.
Yeah. So they always add something like a hodi or like a.
Or you have a rasam.
Rasam is
Yeah.
what it's added for it to loosen up.
Yes, to an
Yeah.
extent, yeah.
Yeah. So when you serve these food, like I'm sure there are a lot of foreigners who might ask you these stories.
Mm-hmm.
And are they surprised when they come to know you're Indian but you're speaking so much about Sri Lankan food?
No, I think, people come for an experience. In London particularly, people come from an experience. And as long as the place has an authenticity about it, it's a well-developed menu and taste is above everything else. We want to make really tasty food. And that's fundamentally at the core of what we do.
What
So
big
no one
stars
really
are
complains.
What are the big stars who have eaten your food?
Big stars. This is
Okay, I
interesting.
have
I
eaten
got
it.
asked this
I
question.
have
You
eaten
haven't.
it.
You
I-
haven't yet come.
I ate your
You ate
food.
my personal
Yeah,
hand-cooked
so
food, which very
that's
few
what
people
that
have.
is more special than what I will eat at
Exactly.
Hoppers.
Exactly, yeah.
So okay, I have eaten after me. Did my mate
Look.
Angelina eat it?
No, I made her wait outside. She didn't want to wait
Yeah.
too long, so
She's
I
not
asked her
so
to come
well.
back.
She looks
yeah.
very anorexic anyway. I'm just asking.
No, we get cricketers from both countries. We get Bollywood actors. But at the end of the day, look, it's an accessible restaurant. We don't get overly excited about all that kind of stuff. And there are lots of people who've become really good friends over the years. We've had film shoots celebrate their end of shoot parties at Hoppers,
that's really nice.
just because of the affiliation they have. And I think, the whole thing about name dropping and it's not that style of restaurant. It's like a homely restaurant. And if you have a famous person who comes to your house because they're a friend, you're not going to go and name drop them.
How many
So-
varieties of hoppers do you serve at Hoppers?
We only do two. We do the egg and we do the plain.
That's it.
Yeah, but it's not meant to be like this crazy. Hoppers is a great name.
Yeah.
And I think it rang a bell. It had this English twang to it. It has a bit of mystique. So even Sri Lankans ask me, why Hoppers? The English asks you, what does Hoppers mean? But actually both can pronounce it right. Single word. It started off as a working title and then carried on to be the name because we liked it so much.
There are so many different
So-
varieties of hoppers here.
I'll tell you, I know.
The jaggery hopper.
Yes, I
milk
love, and milk and jaggery is something you need to mix.
hopper. Have you tried Jaffna milk hopper?
No, what's that?
Oh, okay, I'll quickly tell you the recipe.
Of course.
It's when
You want to leave something out,
Yeah.
no?
you no. I'll tell you the true thing. So you put the hopper mixture into it, and soon after that you'll drop the egg, right, for the egg hopper.
Yeah.
You drop this coconut milk, the first squeeze.
With egg?
thickest. No.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm
You just said egg
I'm
on
giving you an
camera.
example.
Everyone heard this, Danu.
I'm giving you an example. Like when you
You're
drop
not
the egg,
leaving something out. You're adding an extra ingredient and screwing me over.
I'm saying, like when you drop the egg, that's the time you drop this as well.
Yes.
I'm giving you something
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Then you drop this freshly squeezed coconut milk with a lot of sugar. It can't
Okay.
have limited sugar. It has to have a lot of
right,
sugar.
right.
And you let it.
I think your sister made this for us when we ate
And you
at
have to eat
Lina's
it with
house.
spicy curries. You have to eat it like with a fish
okay.
curry. Oh,
Okay, nice.
it is bomb. It is the only type of hopper that I like.
So I do the same thing, but I mix the jaggery with the coconut milk, and it becomes this gooey treacle-like thing. But I have it as a dessert, so it gets quite dense and heavy because when it sets, I love that.
Now I'm going to tell you something. After this show is done, go around asking people, "Aap kanna asada."
Now, I don't speak the language and I'm not going to trust you. After that recipe, I'm not going to trust you, no.
Just ask, or just ask this, "Aapada."
And I'm seeing what the directors are doing as well. They're nodding their head. Everyone here is nodding their head.
What I'm saying is,
I do not trust
hoppers?
you.
That's all. I'm just saying hoppers.
I'll just say hoppers.
No, say
No.
aapada.
No.
Please.
No.
Please say it for me. And it'll be revealed very soon. Thank you. Lovely talking
Absolute
to you.
pleasure.
And I wish you all the very best for the book and
Thank you,
everything
Danu.
else that you
Thank you.
doing. If you really want somebody to be the ambassador or mascot for hoppers, I'm here.
Done. Deal. We'll sign it now.
Brilliant. On that note, we need to wrap things up. Thanks very much to Jackman Columbus 7 for hosting us. We will see you once again very soon. Till then, keep smiling. It's a wrap. Adios.